this is our little character Jeb, and he walks out, sets down his tackle box, and rears back, casts his fishing pole out, and kind of waits, and then he gets a bite, and he starts reeling it in, and it pulls him forward, and then he comes up, and then zoom, it yanks him off screen. Okay. So what we're gonna do is start inking. And so right now I have a grid layer, and I went ahead and made a background in Krita and brought that in. And this is our rough layer. So let's go ahead and create a new Toonz raster layer, and we'll call this char ink or character ink. Hit OK. And now let's find something to ink with over here. So let's come down here to the raster tab. And I want to try something different this time. I usually use that Kobura pen. There was one in here. Here it is. It's this one right here. It has this kind of weird little cat face. Let's see what that feels like. Here we go. Make sure we're on black. Yeah, so I think I want to do that. I'm going to start by making sure all of these other layers are locked. Okay, I don't want to accidentally move or adjust them. And then we're just going to go in here, and I'm going to find some key poses, and I'm going to adjust the opacity down on the rough. And see how he's off screen? I want to get a drawing where I can see all of him. So I'm going to extend this down a little and just hit next frame, and we'll just start with the contact poses. So if I go to, let's say frame 15, and click, it will create a new blank drawing, and this looks like a good starting point. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start inking Jeb. And then I'll switch to the eraser tool. And I'm constantly changing the size of the eraser. I'm just gonna pretty much go off of my rough sketch here. And I'm going to try and not fill it in. You know, like the eyebrow and the pupil, I know I want it pure black, but I'm going to wait until I get it all inked. Because it's easier to adjust it later if we need to. Like if I color it in with a pencil right now, let me show you an example. So if I color in the pupil right now with a pencil, okay, and then I need to erase the inside, then if I'm on lines and area or just lines, and I start erasing the inside, I can erase the lines that I already made on the outside. Okay. Whereas if I fill it with black like this, then I can come in here with the eraser tool and change this to area and up the eraser brush, and then I can just erase, and it doesn't erase the line that I already made. And also I can fill it with a color and then change that color later, and it won't affect the line. Okay, so that's why I like to try and hold off on filling everything till later. It doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes I color stuff in, but let's get the body in here. But I just found it easier to do it that way. Okay, and so the his tackle box, I'm gonna do it on. I'm gonna ink it on a separate layer, and even the legs. I'm just gonna try to give him that thickness. We're just gonna try to fill it in later. Okay. Let's get his mustache in here. And if you mess up, just erase it and try again. And so this part of the hat, this raccoon tail, what I've been doing is just go ahead and drawing like a gesture line like this. And then coming around it, because it's puffy at the end. And I just found that easier, and then just erasing this line. And then it has these two bluffs on it. It has 4 lines. Okay. And the fishing pole, I'll establish, you know, pretty much the size. And then I'll just try to reference that through the whole inking process. Okay, so here's the fishing pole, and I'm going to leave off that string until later. That way I can manipulate the lure, the fish, and then just quickly draw in that line later. I know he's going to hold it like this. Okay. All right, frame 1 down. So now what we can do to kind of speed this up is we could go in to the next contact pose, like right here, 31, and get our brush tool and click and create a blank drawing. Come back to this one, copy it, go to that one, paste insert, and just move it down. And that really speeds up the workflow. And then I can come in here, change the pivot of that little lure. So I'm just following my rough animation at this point, okay? And then we can go in, let's go into the let's see, just coming along. Okay, so the walk, you know, I would do the downs like that, and then I would do the passing positions, things like that. But I want to move along and kind of show you how I would ink this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to find a main pose. Okay, like here's a good key pose, okay, at 61. So let's extend this down. And I'm going to do this whole animation on 2s. Okay, so I'm going to click at 61. And I'm going to try to just flip, because his head's at this down angle. And I'm just going to try to draw, just freehand draw. I like this loose kind of feel. And I don't mind if the lines are wobbly. I kind of like that. But I'm gonna like this. He's looking down, and I just kind of flip to see the size of his nose. And I know this character pretty well. I've been drawing him in my sketchbook and digitally for a while. So if you're going to animate a character, like say Pluto or Bugs Bunny or whatever, or your own character, just draw them a lot. Okay, you kind of get to know the character and the basic shapes. Okay, so I'd come in here to this key pose, and let's just get this in here. I'm going to leave the stripes off because I might need to change that. Okay, so let's get his body in here. He's got these little suspenders. He's got these little legs. Okay, and like the fishing pole, I'm just gonna guess, like I know how to draw it and about the size, so I'm just gonna, and like I said, I don't mind on this one if it changes shapes and stuff. I'm just gonna bring it right up here. And put it behind his body a little, like this. And we'll put it behind his mustache. Okay. And then let's draw that little lure. A little goldfish looking lure. Okay. And it dangles straight off the end of that fishing pole. Okay, so now that we have that key pose, I can, you know, I'll make a note up here that that's a key pose. And then do it on this one. There we go. Okay, so he's in that key pose and he anticipates down. So this is at 65. So let's extend that down, go to 65 and click. And this is where we could turn on onion skinning, because his head is pretty much staying in that same, it's kind of tilting down a little. But I can show you what we can do. We can just kind of draw it in here like this. Eyes are closed because I'm going off my rough sketch right here, my rough animation. So his eyes are closed. And get his little hat in here. And based on my rough sketch, he's coming down a little. He's kind of tilting his head. But if you go to a more extreme pose, you don't want to really do this method, because then it will start looking like a cutout animation. Okay. And then, like I said, like this, we'll kind of do that. And we'll add that puffiness like that. And his hips are coming down. So instead of tracing that body, I know his hips are coming down. I'm just gonna draw hips going down like this. His feet stay in the same place. Maybe that heel comes up, and his knees, maybe they come out more. He's bending down. And so it's just real important when you're inking to close off your shapes, so when you go to color, you can fill it in real easy, real nice and easy. Okay, so he's here. And then let's add some blank keyframes, and he comes up to this pose right here. Okay, I'm gonna look at my rough sketch and see if I have something. Okay, grabs the pole, and right here, okay, 75. So that will kind of be our next key. Oops. See how I left this section off right here? So let's go back, just add that. Before you start coloring, I suggest going through your every frame that you've drawn on and just see if there's holes or any kind of cleanup. Okay, so this is where he comes up. So I'm going to turn off onion skinning. And on my rough animation, I created this perfect circle that was kind of about the size of his head, just to keep him kind of close to on model. I have a tendency to draw bigger as I'm animating along. So this is a good kind of guide for me to follow. But, you know, find your own tips and tricks. Whatever works for you. Like, see this ear? I know my rough sketch, if I draw it like that, see how it changes? It looks really weird. So I'm going to try to just eyeball it. And it kind of helps train my eye to see different shapes. Like this nose, let's see, you know, it's about that big. Yep, so see, we're kind of on model. So he's coming up. There's his mustache. He's looking out. And I'm just going to try to get his body in like this. I'm just kind of flipping to see kind of how thick his suspenders are and where we want to go. And like, this is going to make his legs really short. So I'm going to scoot him up a little. I just need to remember, if I go back to following my rough animation, that I scooted him up right here. And so one little trick to help with that is to now I'm just going to go from this anticipation up to that. Okay. Instead I drew his foot in a different spot, so we could, we'll just make him step back. But this foot, I do want it right where it came from. So I don't have to make him step with both feet. Okay. And so now if we look over here, going from 65, frame 65 down to frame 75, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 drawings we can add in here to do whatever we want. Okay, so like we could ease out of this pose right here. So we could go to 67 and he's easing up out of this. So this is a spot where we could kind of use onion skinning. And I want him to look up first with his eyes. So before I draw his pupils in, and before I draw his mustache, because I might want it to drag a little, I'm going to rotate him up, and he's starting to come up. He's starting to ease out of that, okay? Just kind of freehand his mustache so it feels a little more loose and organic. There we go. So he's starting to come up. Okay. And I'm just going to leave his foot right here for now. This foot's coming down the heel. Okay. I don't want him to step yet. I still have 1, 2, 3 drawings I can add to have him step. Do you see that? Do that little step. And it could be within just 2 frames. Boop. Just real quick. Don't have to make it, you know, big and flashy. So then we could ease in to this drawing. So let me turn off my rough sketch. So now we're going up into that one. goes 73 and click. And now let's turn on onion skinning for both of these. So now we have red and blue. Okay, and so we're gonna favor the red because he's coming up. Okay, he's easing into this red. This red drawing. So let's go ahead and just kind of trace over this red drawing. And then we'll get him forward and down, and he's easing. He's kind of easing up into it. His eyebrows, and he's looking out forward like this. Get a little mustache in there, okay. So I'm going to favor this red. Okay. That is, I'm drawing a lot more. I'm drawing closer to the red drawing than I am the blue. Okay. And maybe maybe this is where his foot's coming up because he's doing that step. Okay. So now we have 2 more drawings. So let's go to 69 and turn on onion skinning for 67 and for 73 and kind of see. And let's not forget, we still have 1 more drawing we need to add in here, 71. So this one, we can favor the blue. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we're gonna favor the blue. And I'm just gonna go through here and quickly get this in. Okay. And now I'm not gonna complete it. I'm just gonna leave it right there so I can show you at 71. Let's click and reset our onion skinning. And now this can be just like we'll just straight in between it like this. Okay. If you need to, you can turn on onion skinning to see how things are, you know, like this ear. I wanted it to arc down, you know, like, so it's coming up and down into this pose. Okay. And then as I'm inking, I'll just work on little sections. So I'll change my start marker to like 61 and then change the end down here to 79. And I'll just work on this section. Okay. That heel's coming down to the ground. And this foot hasn't started to pick up yet. And if you get confused, just keep it simple. Okay, and go back to a previous drawing. Just try to figure out where you're at, okay? let's get his eyes in here real quick. Okay, I haven't drawn his eyes. Okay, we're gonna bring his brows. This is why it's good to do it all together. I should have drew his eyes earlier, but it's okay. We can add him in. Okay. I'm gonna scoot these eyes up. Don't be afraid to change it. If you don't like it, change it. Okay, cool. And if, you know, if you mess up, like, you know, this drawing feels really abrupt before that drawing, right? Like, I'm easing out of this one and then pop, it pops up here. So let's delete it and just see what's going on. I want to favor that top drawing, the red. Okay. Yeah, see how that feels not so poppy, like it doesn't jump as much. If we get closer to this red drawing. His mustache could still be dragging a little. Okay, so now let's fill it. Yeah, that feels way better. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through the whole animation and just ink it like that, okay? Just take it one drawing at a time. So let's turn on our rough. We'll find our key poses. And we'll just animate in and out of them. So here's a good one right here, because he's coming anticipation and he's whipping up from this anticipation and up into here. Okay, for his body. His body kind of stops like right here at 91. So let's make that a key pose. Okay. This is 91. Okay. So let's get this inked in here. Get his expression and his mustache. Even though his head and body like stop right here, his mustache might go like past it on this frame. So I'm going to leave that off for now. Okay, I'm just going to get inked in here. Honestly, this is my least favorite part of this. Okay. And his upper torso is gonna twist. So we're just gonna see one of those suspenders. He's up on his tippy toes. Okay. And I'm just gonna freehand the fishing pole because I know what it looks like. You could redraw it, copy it, paste it, but I'm just gonna keep it as fast process as I can. I'm just gonna come up here. Boom. So let's go ahead and draw his arms. And let's go ahead and get his mustache. We can erase it and change it a little bit. It's too stiff. Okay, so now we just need to get up into that. Okay, from this drawing right here, up into here. Okay, we're just gonna break it down and just keep moving forward. Okay, don't give up, just keep going. It can kind of get tedious sometimes, but just take a break if you need to, come back to it another day, and just work on little sections, and eventually you'll have it all inked. Okay, and then we'll move on to the color. So anyway, that's my inking process, and until next time, happy animating, and I'll talk to you later.